Hey, it is the last day of July 2017, and tonight we are going to be talking about Dr. A's Habits of Health, Chapter 19, all about inflammation. These used to be the tools that I used to fight inflammation. Boy, I would have such swollen ankles and joints, and oh, the headaches. And so, ibuprofen, and kind of this is the generic version of Aleve. I had these massive bottles that I would go through, and it's kind of scary to think of the stuff I put in my system. But you know what? Over the last year or so, since I have learned the habits of health and have been practicing them, I don't need them. It's very rare that I take one. Usually it's for a headache, and usually that's my sinuses kicking off, if anything. But it makes such a difference in our health. And so often we think about being the externals and what it's doing on the outside of our bodies, where something's swollen and painful. But we kind of don't think about what's going on inside and things that are inflamed with our heart and our other joints and organs. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit. Starting on page 227, this is phase 3 in his book about optimizing your health. You know, so far we've focused on 3 major areas. We've talked about healthy eating, having an active lifestyle, and also about restorative sleep. And we've also talked about building a healthy support system to help you maintain your success. But you know what? This is just the foundation for you to build and continue going better. I was at conference last week, and Dr. Anderson, somebody said something about getting into maintenance. And he goes, you don't get into maintenance. We're just always optimizing. And it's true, because maintenance kind of depends. It says you come to a stopping point and you're just trying to maintain there. Our goals, we want to keep getting better and to be the best that we can be at whatever stage in life and situation that we're in. And so we're going to be talking more about that. We're going to add more movement and to build the muscle. You know what? As you add muscle and shed fat through these new habits of health, your body composition will actually start to resemble that of a healthy person. How's that sound? I love the thought of being a healthy person. I know when I weighed over 300 pounds, I didn't always admit it, but health was on my mind a lot. I kept thinking, is my heart going to hold up? And there were times I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm having a heart attack. And all these aches and pains, it was pretty tough. And it's not that I don't ever have aches and pains, but at least I know overall I'm doing what I can do to be healthy, and I'm making healthy choices. And also, it has to do with your immune system, and that's the other thing that you're affecting. When we eat the wrong foods and we don't get enough movement, you'll live in unhealthy environments and suffer from constant stress. Our bodies react by creating an inflammatory state that eventually will erode your brain, your arteries, and joints, and paves the way to a whole host of degenerative diseases. In fact, researchers are currently investigating the impact that a hyperactive immune system may have on such conditions as Alzheimer's, arthritis, heart disease, autoimmune disease, cancer, and the entire aging process. So that's why we're going to focus on eliminating inflammation from your body by adopting the habits of health, things that we've already been learning, and several more that we'll discover in the next few chapters. Continuing to lower your body fat and add muscle is one of the best tools available to beat inflammation. Basically, the combination of exercise and lean muscle mass provides a 1-2 punch to a hyperactive immune system. And so we're going to keep on going forward there. And chapter 19 starts on page 230 of Dr. A's Habits of Health. And you know what? The negative effects of an overactive immune system aren't felt overnight. But over time, if we keep our immune system on constant alert through such bad habits as unhealthy eating, avoiding exercise, and neglecting our sleep, our bodies will begin to age and break down prematurely. You know, for most of us, that inflammation probably conjures up the images of swollen, sore throat that keeps you in bed all weekend, gargling salt water, or the red, pus-filled lump that swells around a cut. In cases like these, our immune system jumps into an appropriate action, sending in white blood cells and bombards the invading bacteria. We're back to normal in a few days. So what does all this have to do with optimal health? Well, the immune system is your own 24/7 on-call emergency service. It has an incredible ability to seek out intruders like bacteria, viruses, and parasites. In fact, it's the most complex system in the body, not only defending us, but remembering every battle it's ever fought in order to recognize repeat threats and avoid wasting time on harmless ones. Its purpose is to restore balance to an unbalanced body. And once it's done its job, it should settle down into its normal, vigilant state to await the next crisis. Unfortunately, that's not what always happens. As medical science is beginning to discover, this benevolent protector has a darker side that can all too easily turn on its master if you make the habits of disease your way of life. So like when you eat donuts and coffee for breakfast, a fatty cheeseburger for lunch, and a bowl of ice cream before bed, when you carry extra fat around your middle, smoke cigarettes, and refuse to get off the couch, your immune system goes on alert. Not an all-out attack to get your attention like the throbbing that accompanies a sprained ankle or the fever that you're coming down with the flu. Instead, it trickles inflammatory molecules into your blood in quantities so small that they can only be detected through a special test. Unnoticed, these inflammatory biochemicals work their sinister effect against your blood vessels, joints, brain, and other critical systems. It may start with stiff, painful joints, or tired-looking skin, or something far more menacing, like cancer, stroke, or Alzheimer's disease. This hostile environment that you're in stimulates your immune system every day through thousands of little exposures, and the resulting damage to your health and longevity can be staggering. In fact, we're only beginning to understand the magnitude of the effect that a chronically elevated immune system has on our body. But this much is known. The continual production of inflammatory markers is relentlessly aging our organs and us prematurely. In fact, it's quite likely that human longevity could stretch to 150 years or more, but only if we can get our immune systems under control. Immune inflammation is actually a key player in heart disease. And until a few years ago, the medical community focused on cholesterol and triglycerides as the main culprits in heart disease. But it turns out that's not the whole story. Now, thanks to a landmark study at Harvard School of Public Health, we know that chronic inflammation, specifically the presence of C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker, it plays a major role in the development of heart disease. For lots of us, it's a silent enemy. And I'm going to share my screen here. I've got a little graphic. So again, talking about this silent enemy, and you're looking at things like the cardiovascular system, and the things like you may see high cholesterol or high triglycerides, high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, abdominal aortic aneurysm, stroke, or sudden death. Yeah, those are kind of serious. In your respiratory system, your breathing could be asthma, nasal polyps, and sinus infections. I had so many of those, I had sinus surgery. Think that was related to my weight? Possibly, maybe not just my weight, but what I was eating, which impacted my weight. Your kidneys can be affected, and there's a bunch of stuff listed there, but I'm not going to try and pronounce those words. Your gastrointestinal system, you can have like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, and obesity. We need to hear more and more about those things, don't you? I don't remember until the past few years hearing about Crohn's disease, but know quite a few folks that have suffered with that, and it really is suffering. Your immune system can even atopic dermatitis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, and allergies. All things to do with your immune system. And your brain, Alzheimer's, mood disorders, depression, and schizophrenia. Your eyes can go through macular degeneration. Your endocrine system, you can see things like diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And other things that can be happening due to inflammation is breast, colon, and prostate cancers. Chronic low-grade inflammation attacks on our health play a central role in degenerative diseases and aging, and can cause all these kinds of diseases. I mean, when you think that making some simple choices and changing things up in your lifestyle, you can avoid a lot of these things. And, we don't make any guarantees, but boy, you sure stack the deck in your favor. And the good news is you have an antidote to these things, the habits of health. And to top it off, Dr. A is going to teach us a whole new set of habits that will help us put your immune system back into the protector it's meant to be. And it's what puts the bad guys in motion and just how they cause so much trouble. So he's talking about free radicals and oxidative stress. And no, I'm not a scientist at all, don't have a clue, but he was talking about how oxygen in your body is a good thing. It fuels your health. But when those oxygen molecules are disrupted, forming what you may have heard of described as free radicals, they can kill cells, damage your DNA, and cause you to age prematurely. Actually, in short-lived local release, these oxygen radicals aren't harmful. Produced through a process called oxidative stress, they're actually used by the immune system to protect you by killing dangerous invaders. Under normal circumstances, your body has a tremendous ability to scavenge and control oxygen radicals once their job is done. And we'll discuss more about food and supplements that can help your body in future weeks here. But if your oxidative stress and inflammation are allowed to continue, a dangerous cycle is set into motion, with inflammation creating more oxidative stress and more oxidative stress fueling the inflammatory process. So I've got another little illustration here from the book. And you can see that, inflammation is spurred by internal factors, external factors, and the foods we eat. These habits of disease create oxidative stress, causing our bodies to create oxygen radicals that, when left unchecked, produce chronic inflammation and cause further oxidative stress, a vicious cycle that slowly erodes our health and brings about disease. And you can see on this chart, some of the things we're talking about food, things that are a high take of calories, of refined grains, simple sugars, high fructose corn syrup, omega-6 fats, saturated fat, trans fats, and overcooked and charred foods. Things that have to do maybe with your external environment would be things like chemicals and toxins that you may be exposed through inhalation, ingestion, or skin exposure, stress, allergens, excess UV, radiation, and things that are from internal environment might be like chronic infections, like your sinus infections or viruses, visceral fat, lack of sleep, and an overuse of antibiotics. So basically, how do you get rid of this dangerous inflammatory state? Hey, it's by creating a microenvironment of health, both through the habits of health you've already learned and some new ones. Are you at risk? You may want to talk to your doctor about testing your CRP level. That's your C-reactive protein level. And CRP occurs when inflammation is present in the body, and it's really highly predictive of cardiovascular disease. In fact, elevated CRP can boost your heart attack risk by 300%, even if your cholesterol levels are normal. And while anything under 3 milligrams is considered normal, our goal is to get you down to 1 milligram through healthy diet, exercise, and by looking closely at 3 important contributors to inflammation: the food you eat, your environment, and your stress level. So again, you might want to ask your doctor when he's doing your blood screening to add that one in. I do with my doctor, and I wish I'd had it done before I started the program. It'd be interesting to compare, but I was really excited when it came back and was in a good range there and was healthy. So that was pretty good. So some of the things that have to do with food, processed food, an astounding percentage of the average Western diet, over 90%, is made up of processed foods. The high level of chemicals in processed foods stimulates the immune system, which senses those chemicals as foreign intruders and attacks. You can lower your state of inflammation by eating healthy, unprocessed whole foods. If due to time constraints you must absolutely eat processed foods, try to choose those with the fewest chemical ingredients. Then carbohydrates is another thing to watch for. Processed high glycemic carbohydrates contribute to inflammation. But again, by following the healthy diet that we've been talking about and eating things, it can actually help. So you should increase your consumption of low glycemic foods. These are things that don't spike your blood sugars as much. Fruits and vegetables. Now, while you're on the 5-in-1, you're not going to be adding the fruits, but when you're in optimizing, then adding the fruits is an awesome thing to do and something that is highly encouraged. And let's see here. And you actually look for things that are red, orange, and yellow. And carotenoids. This is more things of the same colors. He's talking about, these would be fruits, I think, mostly for once you're a maintenance, like papaya, tangerine, yellow peppers, pumpkin, winter squash, sweet potato, carrots, apricot, cantaloupe. And vitamin C, things you can find in like tomatoes, berries, peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, and dark leafy green vegetables. I'm surprised about those vegetables having vitamin C. Another thing called quercetin, which is a lot in blueberries, blackberries, onions, and apples. And you know what? Fats can actually help with inflammation. Isn't that amazing? They have an amazing enough inflammatory properties as long as they're the right type of fats. And this chart is actually going to show you. I could have stayed sharing and just moved on, huh? Go to the fats. So the different fats you're going to look for, the anti-inflammatory fats, are things that are called monounsaturated fats. So olive oil, almonds, canola oil, avocados, and peanut oil. You know, olive oil is perhaps the most important and useful of these fats, with its own unique antioxidant properties, and it's a powerful agent in it that works like ibuprofen and similar over-the-counter medications to reduce inflammation. So that's a great thing to do. And I know I worked at Ohio State in the med tech department, and they were doing like a nutrition study down the hall. And I remember they were using canola oil and checking things, and it came back very well. It was kind of interesting. The other healthy things would be polyunsaturated fats. So these would be vegetable oils like corn oil. I know we grew up, my dad had high cholesterol, and we ate mazola oil, soybean oil, safflower, and cottonseed. And also fish oil. Not so good for that one. But and then inflammatory, the ones that are going to cause inflammation are saturated fats. So things like whole milk, coconut oil. Now, interesting how that's touted by so many as having so many health properties, but you know, it hardens when it's sitting there. Red meat, cheese, and butter. And then the trans fats would be things like partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, most margarines, baked goods, vegetable shortening, commercially prepared French fries, and onion rings. So those are some of the things that you want to be alert about, and you can make healthy choices. So you don't want to cut all fat out, because actually there's some good things for you. And then there's also like some anti-inflammatory omega-3 and omega-6. I always get those kind of confused, but omega-3 is really what you want to have in your diet. And both of them contain essential fatty acids. However, our Western diets tend to include too much omega-6. To keep inflammation in balance, it's important to maintain a ratio of more than 4:1. So 4 parts omega-6 to 1 part of omega-3. Although he says actually a 1:1 ratio is best. So that would be great balance out there. So getting those healthy oils. You know, some of those fishes are great. Nuts and seeds, some grains and beans, and greens have the omega-3s. And then not having so much of the margarine or packaged foods with long life, and oils like that cottonseed, corn, safflower, and sesame. And you really should avoid reusing all vegetable oils. These actually rapidly become breeding grounds for hydrogenated byproducts. So those are all good things to know. And which oils are best? You know, a healthy anti-inflammatory diet should include canola oil. It's the least saturated oil, and it's high in vitamin E, olive oil, and flaxseed. So anyway, those are some hopefully helpful tips. And of course, this book, you can't remember everything I'm talking here now, but you've got this book as a great resource. And that's what it is here for, is to be a resource. And not necessarily sit and have to read it all the way through, but hey, it's helpful, and we're learning right as we go along. And some other anti-inflammatory foods. And who says fighting inflammation has to be all about depriving yourself? Got my superhero mask over here someplace. Should have put that on. It's like some of the, okay, so these would be some of the superheroes. We can do superheroes of fighting inflammation. And things like herbs. Many herbs are great for countering inflammation, including things like ginger, rosemary, turmeric, and its component curcumin. You find that a lot in Indian foods. Oregano, there you go for your Italians. Cayenne, it's kind of Mexican food, right? Cloves, nutmeg, feverfew, and boswellia. I don't know if I've had those last two. Tea, you know what? Green tea. It's good for you. and it contains powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidants. White tea actually contains the most, followed by green tea and then black tea. And he suggests trying to drink 2 or 3 cups per day to begin receiving the benefits. Here's my favorite, chocolate. Now, chocolate also contains the catechins and as well as polyphenols and other antioxidants. You want to choose dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa, and which contains 10 times the oxidations or antioxidants that are found in milk chocolate. To get that dark chocolate going, I'd show you some of that, but I think I probably ate it all. But anyway, the other thing is wine, and if you don't already drink it, don't do it. Wouldn't get started on it, but in moderation, it is also something that's been found as a good thing. And then think about your environment, the air you breathe. You'd like to lower the amount of smog and pollution in the environment, but the greatest risk actually is inside our own homes and offices. The development of more energy efficient houses and buildings combined with the greater use of synthetics has resulted in a new medical condition called sick building syndrome. Even brief exposure to volatile organic compounds can raise your CRP level. How do you know if you're affected? If you suffer from headaches, fatigue, or respiratory symptoms that are relieved when you're away from home or work, on vacation, for example, but that come back immediately on your return, you may want to get tested or get a new job. A simple CRP screen can help you determine if you're being exposed to an inflammatory environment. Other toxins include bacteria, molds, mites, and biological toxins in the air that can be very dangerous. He talks about using a HEPA filter in your house. That's something to look at. And some of the things with keeping your inflammation in check, keep a healthy weight by lowering your daily calorie consumption, eat good fats, the omega-3 monounsaturated fats, avoid the bad fats, avoid overcooking and charring foods, eat more fruits and vegetables, especially low glycemic vegetables and antioxidant rich colored vegetables, eat more fiber through whole grains, avoid sugar, highly refined carbohydrates, and high fructose corn syrup, cook with anti-inflammatory herbs and spices, and incorporate modest amounts of antioxidant-rich supplement foods such as red wine, dark chocolate, and green tea. So that's like a quick summary of some of the things that we said just a little bit ago. And your water supply. It's hard to look at the news without hearing about another water contaminant. Gosh, I heard things like Flint, Michigan, and whole communities affected by this. And things like painkillers, hormones, pesticides, household cleaners, these are all potent inflammatory agents, not to mention the plasticizers, dioxin, and heavy metals that have been linked to autoimmune diseases. And more and more people are turning to things like filtered water and bottled water. And so those things can all be good. And just really checking to see that they are pure and that they have been tested properly. And how about noise pollution? Loud sounds from traffic, construction, even high volume music in your headphones can overactivate your immune system, as can noisy distractions while you're trying to concentrate. Soft, inexpensive foam earplugs are one solution, or even better, invest in a good pair of noise-canceling headphones. But sounds aren't all bad. You know what? Music can actually be a therapeutic way to lower stress, reduce inflammation, and calm the immune system. In fact, when you sing, play an instrument, or even just listen to music, you lower your level of immune activating cytokines and increase your level of relaxing endorphins, the body's natural morphine. Other things that can cause inflammation, x-rays and other radiological techniques, excess antibiotics, and multiple sex partners and other high-risk behaviors. So stay away from those things. How do you want to beat stress? Hey, here's some suggestions. You can also help curb inflammation with getting a massage. Nothing works like human touch to promote feelings of well-being. If you're in Central Ohio, got a great guy named Gary. He's fabulous and knows just how to press it. He's got some background with acupuncture, and call me. I'll hook you up with him. And do some yoga. So learning to breathe deeply and stretch unused muscles, and just calm in the center here. Take a warm bath. You can soothe your muscles and your mind by taking some time for yourself and make your home cozy and inspiring. Turn on some soft music, put up some beautiful art, play in the garden, create a spot for meditation, hang wind chimes, or build a waterfall or reflective pond. Just kind of sounds peaceful just reading that list, doesn't it? Stress is a part of life for all of us in today's world. And, in chapter 21, we'll spend considerable time talking about the importance of organizing your life around what matters most to you. It's an act that can go a long way toward lowering your daily stress and keeping inflammation at bay. So de-stress your job. And the phone rings off the hook. You've got too much to do. You don't get along with your boss. Layoffs are pending. There's too many ways that your jobs create stress and activate our immune systems. One cause of on-the-job stress is simply poor communication, whether it's a lack of opportunity to express your concerns and frustrations or too little information about what's expected of you. Maybe you have too much responsibility and too little authority, or you're worried that you're not competent enough to maintain your position. You might even feel overwhelmed by success in the form of a recent promotion that's loaded you with more work than ever. If you feel underappreciated at work, unfulfilled in your career, or unsupported by your colleagues, your stress level and your immune system stimulation is likely to go way up. What can you do about it? Meet with your supervisor and ask questions about your performance, how you fit in, what you can do better, and what chances there are for promotion. And so anyway, there's more tips in here about that. And also exercise is another thing that's great for helping relieve stress. Get out and take a walk. Just get out and about, spend time with people, whether it's with other new moms, dog lovers, fishing buddies, or siblings. Just knowing you're not alone can go a long way to helping you cope with stress. And make sure you're spending plenty of time with people who, like you, are interested in improving their lives. And conversely, avoid relationships that bring on stress and codependent behaviors. Being around people who love life is not only rewarding, it's great therapy. And go natural, get out into nature, sit out at night and see the stars, walk through some woods, enjoy some flowers, and treat your body. Things like Western massage is great. And there's a variety of things here. And laughter. I love to laugh. You know what? And that just relaxes everything. And when you laugh from your stomach, it just lets some good endorphins. And it's great for helping the environment around you. And focus on the positive. It's so easy to slip into a negative self-talk, a negative self-image. But hey, think about that. And you know what? This is where Dr. A's, the whole thing about Stop, Challenge, Choose can come in. And I've got a free 100-page ebook. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it, take time. Read a few pages a day. It's really good and it's simple. You're going to stop before responding. We live in a reactive world, and all too often our first response is to lash out at water or whoever has created a situation we find less than ideal. And that can be too with our eating. It's like you're thinking about eating something, stop. Think about it before you just shove it in and then go, what did I do? Challenge. Think about why you feel the way you do. It's so easy to make assumptions or to take things personally. By challenging what we're feeling or thinking, we can disengage the reactive emotional parts of our brain and engage the logic center. And then choose your ideal outcome. Look at the long-term helps you put what's right now in perspective. It helps you put what's happening right now in perspective. Choosing the outcome you really want puts you in control and helps to turn off the stress. When you're faced with a stressful situation, stop, challenge, and choose. And take some deep breaths. You can't live without breaths, and it's one of the most powerful stress reducers you can do. Every day you breathe almost 20,000 times. You exchange carbon dioxide, a product of metabolism, for life-giving oxygen. Yet we almost never think about the act that has such a profound effect on our emotional state and well-being, and vice versa. From panic attacks caused by blowing off too much carbon dioxide to common stress that tenses our muscles and restricts our breathing, our emotions and breathing are closely intertwined. And you learn how to breathe through your diaphragm. You put your hands in your chest and your belly down there. And when you breathe, what's first moving? Is it your chest or is it your stomach? And you'll want to look on the diaphragm and just take and breathe in and out. And just like your sleep cycle, the rhythm of your breathing plays a major role in your health. So anyway, all of these things Stress, poor eating habits, a lack of exercise, and a toxic environment contribute to a hyperactive immune system that can create a dangerous internal environment of inflammation, taking a toll over your life over time. But by avoiding behaviors and conditions that stimulate your immune system, by actively developing habits that limit stress and lessen inflammation, you can position yourself for a lifetime of optimal health. The right knowledge and tools, the tool belt of those habits of health, you can beat this modern scourge and not only live longer, but better. I'm now officially an Optavia coach. If you are on our program, you're an Optavian, I'm sorry which way to say it. But anyway, Optavia means it's the optimal way. And that's what we're trying to do. God has given us so many good things, and he's equipped us with what we need for all of life. And, he's come to give us fullness of life. And why not live it to the best that we can? And don't be weighed down by all the things that are annoying you. Figure out how we can do stuff. Let's work together. We can talk through some ideas, and I'd love to help you any way I can. But tell you what, body feels a whole lot better with that stress and the inflammation reduced. And anyway, you make it a great week, and thank you for joining me, and have a great, great day. Talk to you later. Bye.